From our studio in Georgetown, this is the TV Delmarva Channel 14 News at 4.
Good day, Delmarva. Jonathan Mistrat reporting for TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Straight ahead, if at first you don't succeed, try again. That's the goal of two new bills that have been introduced that would decriminalize marijuana in Delaware. Dover police arrest a man who had 8 warrants and now faces additional drugs and weapon charges. An attended window violation leads to a drug and weapons arrest. We have the details. These stories and more straight ahead, but weather first with meteorologist Hunter Outen.
Good Tuesday afternoon, Delmarva. We'll be seeing a little bit of some precipitation throughout much of today, and it's quite dreary out there as well. Take a live look outside of North Ocean City, Maryland. We actually have a little bit of some fog elevated just above the surface right along our coastal locations. Still fairly dry for the most part as that warm front continues to lift northward this afternoon. Currently 52 degrees in North Ocean City. Take a look at some satellite and radar. I want you to pay close attention to this storm system down into the Gulf States area, actually producing quite a bit of some severe weather in areas of Alabama, Georgia, and as well as Florida. But that system is going to be lifting up towards our neck of the woods during the overnight hours tonight. Don't have to worry about anything in the way of severe weather. There's just going to be a plain rain event for us here on Delmarva, but it's going to be quite heavy at times too. Swinging things closer to home with Viper 14, we are looking at some rainfall still occurring just south of Dover and Kent County, stretching through northern Caroline and even Queen Anne's going into this afternoon. We're starting to see a decrease in that precipitation, but don't let that fool you, because once we get into the heart of the overnight hours, we are really going to start seeing an increase in intensity with that moderate to heavy rainfall moving in thanks to that storm system well down into the south. Let's have a look at those temperatures elsewhere on Delmarva at this hour. Right now, 57 degrees here in Georgetown, 59 for Salisbury, 64 degrees in Pocomoke City where that warm front is, 69 right now in Exmoor. Heading over towards Easton, it's 57 degrees, 56 for Centreville, 55 for Dover, 54 for Wilmington, and currently 53 degrees in Newark. Take a look at dew points. We're starting to see an increase in that moisture as dew points are starting to get into the mid and upper 50s from areas Dover on southward, but we're still looking at dew points in the 40s. But once that warm front begins to continue to lift northward throughout the afternoon hours, we're going to be looking at some fairly humid conditions going into tonight. Current sustained winds across the region, it's been fairly light for the most part, generally from the southeast, about 4 to 8 miles an hour sustained, but we have been seeing some wind gusts maybe near 10 miles an hour in some locations, like currently gusting to 9 in Georgetown, 12 there in Ocean City, 11 miles per hour in Dover, 12 for Wilmington. And the most gusty spot right now on Delmarva in Newark at 14 miles per hour. Now, we do have plenty of rainfall in the forecast over the next several days, but a nice weekend is in store, and not to mention a very big warm-up towards the middle portions of next week. I'll have all those details in just a little bit.
Well, a month after efforts to legalize recreational marijuana in Delaware was defeated in an unusual manner, two new bills have been introduced last week in hopes to succeed with a new approach. House Bill 371 and 372, introduced by Newark State Representative Ed Ozinski, would make it easier to pass while addressing concerns addressed by colleagues in both chambers. Bill 371 would simply legalize possession of an ounce or less for personal use to those 21 and older. A simple majority vote is all that would be needed to pass that bill. Bill 372 would tax and regulate marijuana, but still requires a 3/5 majority vote to pass, which has been the issues with previous marijuana legalization efforts. TV Delmarva spoke to the bill sponsor in January about the need to legalize.
The prohibition, I believe, was wrong. The decision makers back in the 50s that came up with the prohibition did not follow the science on cannabis. So the harm that's been done has been disproportionately because, if someone that was well off was charged with a marijuana possession, usually all it took was hiring an attorney, spending, a few $100s, and you could probably walk away without a blemish on your record. Unfortunately, not everybody could afford that, and they've had those marks on their record, and it's affected, college entry, housing, job market. It's had such a negative effect. It's time, if anything, to end the prohibition. And then also at the same time, I hope with this bill, and that's why it's over 45 pages, it addresses, we could do something simple to just say, okay, we're legalizing marijuana. But then what's that leave it? It still leaves the black market, the illegal market, to meet the needs of the consumers. Those that have opposed it have not really come out that vocally. They've made their positions clear, but I don't feel like they've worked behind the scenes to derail it, and they've kind of been hands off, which I appreciate. So, my goal is just to address the issues of my colleagues.
Now, it's worth noting that the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill called the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, or MORE. The bill on Friday that was passed now goes to the U.S. Senate for consideration. Well, a Laurel man is facing several drug and weapon charges after he was pulled over for a tinted window violation. Seaford police say 44-year-old Carlos Munoz Barreto was stopped in the area of South Market Street on Sunday evening. The officer spotted a handgun in the door pocket when the door opened, prompting the officer to make an arrest. A further search of the suspect's vehicle uncovered 58 grams of cocaine, 10 bags of heroin, 519 grams of marijuana, 49 prescription pills, drug paraphernalia, baggies, a rifle, scale, ammunition, and over $2,800 in suspected drug proceeds. Munoz Barreto faces several charges, including possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. He was also wanted on a Delaware State Police warrant for a theft charge as well. Munoz Barreto was arraigned and lodged to SCI on a $139,000 cash bond. Well, a Dover man with 8 warrants in Delaware was apprehended on Monday. Dover police say 20-year-old Jameer Brown was arrested in the parking lot of Rural Farms on Salisbury Road in Dover after he was observed leaving the area of Village Drive. He was taken into custody without incident. A search of Brown's vehicle uncovered 18.5 grams of marijuana and a loaded 9mm handgun. Police say Brown was wanted for a domestic charge in Dover and was also wanted by several courts in Delaware. He now faces additional possession of untraceable firearm charges, possession of firearm by a person prohibited 2 times, possession of marijuana and drug paraphernalia, and of course the 8 warrants. Brown was committed to SCI on a $23,000 cash bond. Well, nominations are now underway for this year's Lieutenant Governor's Challenge. The Wellness Leadership Award honors individuals and organizations that inspire others to make healthy and productive choices that improve the quality of life for all Delawareans. Last year's winners include the Seaford School District Behavioral Health Team, which Dr. James Bell explains.
We wanted to promote better structure, better teaming, and better partnerships for helping our students and families to access student behavioral health services. And so what that entailed was really stepping back and looking at our current model and the way that we were implementing that model and providing services. And what we saw was that we wanted to add additional structure to that model. So we first developed a memorandum of understanding with our partners that were serving our students in our schools. And the purpose of doing that is to build a relationship, a true relationship between both the school system and our community partners. And so once we sat down, had a discussion, our first Behavioral Health Summit, we were able to form this MOU and this partnership with our community partners.
You can now nominate a candidate for this year's award at ltgovernorschallenge.org. That's ltgovernorschallenge.org. Nominations will be accepted until May 16th. Winners will be announced in October. Well, severe weather season is here, Delmarva, and we want to help you get notified. Collaborating efforts from Midland USA, Wall Service Center, and Delmarva WX are giving you the opportunity to win one of these life-saving devices. 3 Midland weather radios will be given away this month, so stay tuned to TV Delmarva and tvdelmarva.com for a full list of contest rules and how to enter this multi-month giveaway. We are here to make Delmarva a weather-ready community, and we want to thank you for your support as always. Well, coming up, seniors on Medicare can now order free COVID-19 home testing kits from pharmacies across the country. Details straight ahead. Keep it tuned here. Well, if you're one of many Delaware seniors on Medicare, you can now get up to 8 free COVID-19 home testing kits each month from participating pharmacies. Delaware Department of Health made the announcement this week saying that Medicare will pay pharmacies directly for the test and allow for those enrolled to pick them up at participating pharmacies. Now, pharmacies enrolled with the program include CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Walmart, Giant Foods, Costco, Kroger Family, and other regional and local chains. Everyone can still order a free at-home test kits per address delivered by the U.S. Postal Service at covidtest.gov. If you're on Medicare, check with your pharmacy to see if they participate in the monthly program. Well, it's starting to feel a little more like spring, so is the nice weather here to stay? We get a preview of your pinpoint weather forecast with meteorologist Hunter Outen.
As a warm front continues to lift northward, we will be setting the stages for some heavy rainfall during the overnight hours tonight. That rain will be lasting into tomorrow morning, but we may see a little bit of sunshine by the afternoon hours. More rain is in the forecast for Thursday, but a dry weekend is ahead. Not to mention a major warm-up in store during the middle portions of next week. Just how much rain are we looking to get tonight? I'll let you know when we come back here on TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Well, Delmarva, I hope you're prepared for a wet and dreary night once again here on the shore. As we get into the overnight hours, we are going to be looking at periods of rain developing, and that rain will definitely be heavy at times, especially closer we get to midnight. Temperatures 52 to 56 degrees across the region, and we got some light onshore winds from the southeast between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Take a look at Futurecast rest of the afternoon and evening hours into Wednesday. This is 8 o'clock tonight. We are going to be still dealing with some scattered showers here and there as that warm front continues to lift on northward. And we got some nice temperatures too in the upper 50s to about 60 degrees. But if you look over towards our west, that is the bulk of the precipitation that will move in just around midnight. And pretty much everybody here on the shore is looking at moderate to even heavy rainfall with a lot of these orange and yellowish colors here stretching pretty much everywhere across the shore. Temperatures still fairly mild too in the upper 50s. Going to 3 o'clock in the morning, this is probably when we're going to be seeing the heaviest precipitation overall. Widespread areas of these yellows and oranges as we get closer with that coastal low just by this time off of the coast of Virginia. Good news is once we get to 7 o'clock tomorrow morning during that morning commute, we are still going to be dealing with some scattered showers in the area, but the intensity is going to be decreasing throughout much of the morning hours as our coastal low right here continues to move off towards the north and east. And by noon, all the precipitation should be gone. We're going to be looking at some mostly cloudy skies. We may see a peaks of that sunshine here and there. Temperatures still about the same as what it was during the overnight hours, well into the 50s. And even by the evening hours, we're still going to be dealing with mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the mid-50s. But unfortunately, once we get into the overnight hours tomorrow night till Thursday morning, more redevelopment of some showers of yet another storm system that will be delivering more precipitation to the area going into Thursday. But after that, we are done with the rain, and we got some really nice weather set in store for this weekend and even into next week. Here's the forecast precipitation during the overnight hours tonight. Generally, pretty much everybody here on Delmarva can expect 3/4 of an inch to 1.25 inches of precipitation before all said and done by the mid-morning hours on Wednesday. Like I mentioned, not really expecting much in the way of a flood threat for the most part, but it's going to be rather dreary. It's going to make for some nice sleeping conditions during the overnight hours tonight. Wednesday forecast, though, we're going to have those morning showers, and we're going to be looking at some sunshine returning by the afternoon hours. Still fairly mild out there, 58 to 64 degrees. But those winds are going to be picking up from the northwest behind that storm system, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Well, at least the good news is with all the rain that we're going to see during the overnight hours, us allergy sufferers out there are going to be getting a break. Some very low allergy conditions expected for your Wednesday, 1.8 out of 12, with maybe just a tiny bit of tree pollen of maple, elm, and juniper. Enjoy that while it lasts, because probably going into next week, we're going to really be seeing those values creep up very, very close to extreme levels. Now we're going to switch gears and take a look at the marine conditions for your Wednesday, beginning with the Atlantic. We got scattered showers, 60 degrees, winds from the northeast at 15 to 25 miles per hour, with seas around 3 to 6 feet. Take a look at the Delaware Bay. We've got scattered showers, 58 degrees, winds from the east at 10 to 15 miles per hour, with seas of around 1 foot expected. And then at Chesapeake Bay, scattered showers as well, 61 degrees, winds from the east at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and you can expect seas of around 1 to 2 feet. Now, going into the overnight hours tomorrow night, we are still going to be dealing with some mostly cloudy skies and watching out for some areas of some showers developing later on, closer towards Thursday morning. Temperatures 47 to 52 degrees. Still going to be breezy though, but it's going to be switching towards the east between 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now, like I mentioned yesterday about the chance for some severe weather going into Thursday, but the Storm Prediction Center has now completely dropped that risk as I expected, and we're just going to be dealing with some rain. Now, after all the bad news that I delivered today, time to deliver some really good news. If you're a fan of that warmer weather, you're going to really love next week. Here's a snapshot of the jet stream going into the middle portions of next week from the GFS model. We have a big trough over across the western portions of the United States, and when that does happen, a large ridge is going to develop across the eastern U.S., sending that jet stream well into Canada. And when that does, a lot of warm air from the Gulf of Mexico is going to move into our neck of the woods, and we're going to be looking at temperatures getting as much as 20 degrees above average. Keep in mind, temperatures this time of year should be around 60 degrees, so you do the math with that, and we're talking temperatures well into the 70s and maybe even be flirting with the 80s starting as soon as Tuesday and to finish out much of next week. Starting to get some of that May-like conditions after being a little bit cold for most part of the spring. Now, take a look at that extended outlook. We still have the rain chances for tomorrow, overnight hours into Thursday as well, but we get a break starting Friday. Temperatures right around average, partly sunny skies. This weekend is looking fantastic. Plenty of sunshine, partly sunny skies, but temperatures will be a few degrees below average in the upper 50s. But going into next week, though, take a look at a Tuesday. Partly sunny and already 76 degrees, and we could be looking at some 80s by the middle portions of next week.
Coming up, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is calling for the United Nations to step in and do something about the atrocities occurring in the Ukraine following the gruesome discovery of killed and tortured civilians at the hands of Russian soldiers. The full story when we come back. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky spoke to the United Nations Security Council today, demanding that Russia is held accountable for its invasion in the Ukraine and the carnage left behind.
They destroy Ukrainian cities to ashes with artillery and airstrike. They are deliberately blocking cities, creating mass starvation. They deliberately shoot columns of civilians on the road trying to escape from the territory of hostilities. They even deliberately blow up shelters where civilians hide from airstrike. They are deliberately creating conditions in the temporarily occupied territories so that as many civilians as possible are killed there. The massacre in our city of Bucha is only one, unfortunately, only one of many examples of what the occupiers have been doing on our land for the past 41 days. And there are many more cities, similar places where the world has yet to learn the full truth. Mariupol, Kharkiv, Chernobyl, Tyrka, Borodyanka, and dozens other Ukrainian communities. Each of them is similar to Bucha.
The comments come after the brutal slaying and torture of civilians in towns around Kiev, where children are included in the body count. Zelensky is calling for Russian President Vladimir Putin to be tried as a war criminal, and satellite images verified by U.S. intelligence back accusations of genocide in those towns, to which Putin is denying his troops committed. President Joe Biden is also calling for Putin to be tried as a war criminal.
Weather Classroom is sponsored by No Nonsense Office Machines, committed to providing quality products and services with over 15 years of experience here in Sussex County. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today's weather lesson we will be talking about another brand new parameter we came up with here at TV Delmarva to help combat tornado forecasting within storms in the near-time future, known as tornadic tilting and stretching. Similar properties to our Tornadic Energy Helicity Index, or THI for short, but it's geared towards events in the cooler seasons where instability is much lower, but the shear is much higher. These conditions are also very common here on Delmarva, where instability is hard to come by from time to time, but the wind shear is absolutely tremendous. TTS focuses on storm relative helicity in the lowest kilometer of the atmosphere, and CAPE, also known as instability, in the lowest 3 kilometers of the atmosphere. The presence of both ingredients suggests potential for increased low-level tilting and stretching of horizontal streamwise vorticity within the updraft, and in layman terms, basically taking rolling columns of air and tilting them into the vertical inside of the updraft, which may increase the potential for tornadic supercells. Enhancements are added based on total CAPE and deep layer shear that strengthens the overall updraft. LCL heights, which is the lowest portions of the cloud base, and convective inhibition are used as limiting factors when they are too high or large. In preliminary testing, values approaching 2 and greater suggest the potential for tornadic supercells. This experimental parameter is intended to help diagnose environments supporting tornadoes where total CAPE values is relatively small but promotes significant streamwise vorticity.
Well, that about does it for us today, Delmarva. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at TV Delmarva and on our website, tvdelmarva.com, for real-time news and weather updates. And while you're there, be sure to sign our petition calling on the major cable providers to carry TV Delmarva on their platforms so we can provide this kind of local programming to all of Delmarva. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Mastrat reporting for TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News. A reminder that your mental health is just as important, so take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.